Welcome to the Igniting the CEO Within podcast, where we interview successful, high-level professionals to discover lessons they've learned throughout their career that can help ignite that CEO within you. I'm Mark McFatridge, and I'll be your host for the next 15 minutes or so. Our show is sponsored by Quaid, a nationwide community of CEOs and entrepreneurs. Quaid has developed Launchpad, which offers an opportunity for experienced executive coaches to become licensed circle directors. After completing the Launchpad program, you'll lead your own peer advisory circles, helping other CEOs and entrepreneurs excel in their professional and personal lives while providing a community of support, accountability, and challenge. If you'd like to learn more, visit us at quaidcircle.com. On our show today, I get to hang out with Denny Morrow. He's an executive coach out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Denny, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Mark.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This is going to be a fun one. Hey, look, you've had a really interesting career, and especially what you're doing now, you get exposure to all kinds of leaders, and I would love your thoughts on a trait or two that really separate the excellent ones from all the rest.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark, the term "healthy leader" is my hallmark. I'm not looking for people who will burn the candle at both ends and do whatever it takes, sacrificing family and physical fitness to get the job done. What I'm looking for is a whole person who has 360 degrees to their life. And I'd like to take a different spin on this today and to talk about what I've seen as primary reasons why top performing CEOs fail.
Love
And
it.
this is a warning, and it's also an encouragement that if any of these apply to you, then there are people looking to have a conversation with you. Could be an executive coach, could be an HR person in your company. It could be your father-in-law, but most people need to get help when they encounter some of these issues that are tough. Let me just give you an example. 20 years ago, we had a bridge collapse here in Minneapolis. It was on Interstate 35W. 13 people rode the bridge down and died. I had a friend who was on the bridge, rode it down 25 feet and survived. But people were trying to figure out what caused this bridge to collapse. And when I tell you what these theories were, Mark, I think you're going to see that there are phenomenal correlations to what causes great leaders to fail as well. First one was a design flaws, that the engineers just got it wrong. And they miscalculated, put the wrong pieces of metal together in the wrong way. How this might apply to a CEO is, let's say someone's an attorney and they've been very successful as an attorney, but they really want to be an artist. And they spend all of their time, built a little studio out in their backyard, and they like to work with clay and create beautiful objects, and the law bores them to death. Well, I mean, that's a design flaw, and it's not them as a design or as a flawed human, but it's them just choosing to base their career on something that doesn't have the passion. Let me give you another one. Stress fractures. Here in Minnesota, we get winters that get down to 40 below, and we get summers that are over 100, and metal expands and contracts. And people thought, well, maybe this bridge just had too many expansions and contractions. It's kind of like a paperclip. If you take a paperclip and bend it up and down, the odds are after 7 or 8 bends, the paperclip is going to snap. And you think about what are these stress fractures that pop up into a CEO's life? Well, it's the always, well, I can just do one more thing. Well, sure, I'll take that on. I can do it better than anybody else, and I'll just do it. And if that happens once a week, all of a sudden you've added 50 things to your schedule. And it it just gets to be too much. People forget that the CEO needs to handle the things that only the CEO can do, and everything else needs to be delegated. I'll give you one more. Repairs under load. On the day that the bridge collapsed here in Minneapolis, um, there were 7 dump trucks on the bridge filled with construction materials, blacktop, sand, concrete mix, and they were trying to fix the bridge while it's operating at full capacity. Well, let's be honest, if you break your leg, you're not going to run a race. If you've got something that is uh, frustrating that you need to fix, whether it's a mental health issue, whether it's a kid who's having a love affair with chemicals, or auntie who now has Alzheimer's, and you're the primary caregiver.
Hmm.
Those things add to your load that you have to get fixed somehow, and you can't operate normally. So figure out a way that you can offload some of those things. I'll just give you one last one, and that is inspection resistant areas. Bridges go across rivers, and it's hard to get out to the middle of the river and sling somebody's body underneath with a observation tool, trying to find out has there been rust or acid rain or just some kind of corrosive material that's causing a bridge to get weaker and weaker and weaker, and it performs just fine up until the point that it doesn't.
Hmm.
Um, CEOs sometimes face that too. In my experience, there are some CEOs who have a life that they don't want to have exposed to anyone else. Maybe it's a secret love affair, or it's a gambling addiction, or it's um, alcoholism that gets teeth added to it once the day is over. But all of these things can have a deleterious effect on the performance of a CEO. Um, I I've learned that I need to have 2, 3, 4 people that have permission to look at me and say, "Denny, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard." I mean, you don't need 50 people like that,
Hmm.
but you need a couple. And there are people in my life that I've given permission to be just that honest with me. And if a listener doesn't have one of those people or 2 of those people, I mean, I know it seems counterintuitive to seek out someone who's going to tell you things that might be painful, but we need it. We need people who can help us see those inspection resistant areas. So I've seen people in all of these situations, Mark. I've been on the counseling and on the coaching end. You know, half of the people that an executive coach works with just don't or won't change, and
Yeah.
that's the sad part. And so figure out if you need that kind of help. Um, get it.
Yeah, Denny, I like it. I really like all those points, and so much of it boils back to self reflection and understanding who you are, right? The self awareness of who you are and what you're doing and what you're going through. Um, Being able to surround yourself with a group of people or peers or somebody that you can talk to that's going to be blunt and honest and candid with you are all really important things. How how do you get somebody who's in a CEO seat or a founder seat or business owner seat to kind of relinquish that control because it's counterintuitive, or at a minimum it's not innate to reach out to others, to expose yourself in this situation to find assistance. How do you get them, to go to that, get to that level?
Well, here's my appeal to the board chair people who are listening to your podcast. And oftentimes it takes the board chairperson with them monthly conversation with the CEO where it's talking about numbers and profits and losses and new plans coming up. But then eventually the greatest board chairs that I know are the ones that'll cross over the line and say, now I want to talk about your life. I want to talk about what are the things that you can't control that are driving you crazy? What are the things that are that basal drip of pressure that you just wish would go away, that it's driving you bananas? And CEOs won't bring that up oftentimes on their own, but it'll take someone, either a peer who has that level conversation, or it takes their boss, i.e., the board chair, who can speak into that. Uh, CEOs, both women and men, think that they're invincible,
Mhm.
and part of their success that got them into the top chair in the organization oftentimes reinforces that, and perks go along with it. But the truth is that if we get to the end of our life and we have failed in our marriage, we've failed as a mom or as a dad, we've failed with our community, but the company has been profitable, it's not the legacy that I think anyone wants to leave. We want to leave a legacy that that is filled with rich relationships and joy in the journey, and not having this razor's edge of stress constantly eating away at us. Talk to somebody about it.
Yeah. No, Denny, I think that's great insight. And I I contend. Well, certainly you and I both agree that you can do it all, right? Like you can have a fulfilling life. You can have a great marriage. You can be a great parent. You can be a great community or leader, and you can lead a great company. It's possible. And as a matter of fact, if you dedicate, my opinion, if you dedicate as much energy to all of those areas, if you're, sparsing them out and understanding when you can put some into others, that you're going to live a fulfilled life, and you don't have to run one into the ground, and hope that the others are successful.
Totally agree. And there are fabulous resources out there. Some of Patrick Lencioni's works are phenomenal. The late Dennis Waitley has books about living a well balanced life. David Brooks, the former New York Times columnist who now writes for the Atlantic, talks about uh, life and wisdom, and even such basic things as how to have a good conversation and get to know someone in a real way, not just a superficial way. So,
Hmm.
so if we think we have all the answers, we're wrong, and
Yeah.
we can have wonderful inputs, uh, not only from wise people, but from great written resources too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think, people for a long time were talking about work-life balance, and I don't know. I don't agree that it's actually balance, right? That means you're always given equal weight to both sides. I've been trying to get momentum behind work life amoeba, but nobody buys into that one, right? Where because there are times when you're going to spend more time at work, and there are going to be more times when you spend more time with your family
Right.
because of what the circumstances are dictating. And that's okay, right? Like you just have to kind of meld with what's going on, but also recognize that it's all inclusive, that you have to have that you are required to have as much energy in all of them for you to have that successful life, and it's okay.
Right. The caution that I have is that when we're in those periods of time at our jobs where we know it's taken 80 hours a week to get this done, we have to be careful that that doesn't become the new normal.
That's right.
We have to be careful to say, okay, this phase is over, and I'm now retreating back to my 50 hours a week, or whatever that number is
Mhm.
that gives you work-life balance, or uh, as your coined phrase put it better, Mark, work-life amoeba, right? So,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah.
I keep trying to get momentum behind that. Nobody's signing off on it.
Well, I
So,
like it.
yeah. Anyway, I mean, I've got the visual for the mascot and everything, but I can't get anybody to sign off on it, Denny. Hey, my friend, this has been awesome. Would you do me a favor? Would you share with our audience what a typical engagement with you looks like and how can people get a hold of you?
Sure. I've spent my life as uh, a educator and as an executive coach. I've lived in Hong Kong, worked there, and in Nairobi, and back here in the U.S. If you'd like to get in touch with me, my email is morrowlodge, MORROWLODGE, all one word, at gmail.com. Um, and most of my work is now referrals with people whose lives are falling apart, and they've heard that maybe I could help. And so that's the kind of schedule that I'm building right now. And actually trying to wean myself from a full-time schedule and gradually drift into to having that crystallized intelligence that I can share with other people as a coach.
I love it. I love it. Denny, thanks you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. This has been a blast.
Well, thank you, and thanks for the good work you're doing, Mark. I appreciate the opportunity, and it's been fun to chat.
Great. Thanks so much. All right, y'all, we've done it again. We found another amazing leader to help on your journey to the CEO seat. As we wrap up, I want to remind you that Igniting the CEO Within is sponsored by Quaid, a nationwide community of CEOs and entrepreneurs. Quaid has created Launchpad, which provides an opportunity for experienced executive coaches to become licensed circle directors and significantly impact the lives of CEOs and entrepreneurs. To find out more, visit quaidcircle.com. Until next time, keep igniting that CEO within you. I'm Mark McFatridge. Thanks for listening.